but it's tight. I'ma slurp that shit down on a cold dark night and sky rockets in flight. Maroon Pedialyte. Maroon Pedialyte. What flavor would that be? What flavor would maroon be?
Cherry.
Real
cherry.
Ooh, like tart cherry.
3, 2, 1. We're live.
We don't even do that anymore.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Animatronic Trio. I'm Anthony.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Ashley.
Yes, you are. We're here. We're back. We're going to try to see if this works. We've had a lot of technical difficulties. We've actually told you this 75 fucking times, but apparently we've never recorded any of them.
Has it been 2 weeks?
This is the first time you're hearing it.
How long has it been? Has it been 2 weeks?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a little over a week.
Right?
They were at the end of... If we went to the end of this week, it would be 2 weeks, I think.
So it's been 9 days.
Yeah, it's been longer than we were hoping for.
Wow.
Well, we're back.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're not going anywhere.
We're back from outer space.
Don't come around.
Check, please. Yeah.
Check, please. Anyways, let's segue with this. L'aqua.
All right, well, we're here anyway. So we were going to bring you a amazing Mandalorian trailer review podcast.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Before.
It never made it to the air. It didn't get recorded. We tried 3 times. None of them got recorded. We were having an issue with the computer setup.
Speculated modulator.
Yeah, we needed a new flux capacitor. But I think we're doing well now, and I think it's going to work.
I hope so.
I don't see why it wouldn't. But we did watch some things over the last couple of days that we weren't podcasting. Going to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
The WandaVision trailer. You said you saw it. I didn't watch it. She didn't watch it.
It's good.
I'm curious. I really have not looked into it at all. And
it's going to be crazy.
It looks bizarre.
It's going to be crazy. It's very strange. Like
It
very
looks very odd.
so and
I don't
it
really
leads,
even understand.
It's going to lead straight into Doctor Strange 2, which is titled The Multiverse of Madness.
So this is Marvel?
Yeah, this is Marvel.
Yes. So it's Vision and
Scarlet Witch.
So Vision has
Vision
the
is-
yellow
Yeah.
And he
stone,
died.
and
He's
he
dead.
got it. He's dead.
He's
Yeah,
dead.
and
dead.
then his wife.
Yeah, I think they're married.
They're not married, but they're gonna be married.
Okay.
In this show.
The Scarlet Witch. Not really.
But yeah,
either.
basically we're gonna figure out how the hell he's alive because we watched him die, and Wanda is gonna do some crazy shit. I think that kind of jacks up the multiverse. And
So this is after
this is after Endgame.
Avengers? Oh.
Yeah. This is after. So this is totally new stuff. I believe she's gonna mess up the multiverse and trying to create her own reality.
Okay.
Of course.
And I think, and then they say Doctor Strange is gonna it's gonna lead straight into the second Doctor Strange movie. So he's probably gonna have to step in and like try and fix all this shit that she's.
So she's a problem.
Yeah.
Way to fucking
Which, yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
But the multiverse is cool because I think we're gonna see because Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2. Sam Raimi is the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy. So
So the bad Spider-Man trilogy.
With Toby?
with Toby. So
I liked it. It's nostalgic.
So
Sam Raimi's directing the movie,
So he
and it's
thinks-
about the multiverse.
so
So,
he thinks
Tobey
there's
Maguire
gonna be-
should be in it. Which can also lead into a Spider-Verse movie, which would be freaking awesome. And then you get Andrew Garfield and Tom
Like
Holland.
the
and-
live action.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
These are hopes and dreams.
I see what you got all jazzed
Nerdgasm.
about.
So, yeah, it's like everything.
Oh,
It's
it's
just like
all-
everything ties in together, but these like lead directly into that.
Okay.
So it should be cool. I'm really excited.
It all circles back.
Yeah. It's like a big circle.
Like I said, no corner. We could briefly talk about the Mandalorian trailer. Obviously, we're not going to do as deep as we were doing before, but I mean,
Still in the news.
what we had expected or what we were hoping for was, we wanted I wanted some Darksaber action. Didn't get that.
I kind of like that though.
Leaves the mystery there.
I wanted to see him fly on a jetpack. Saw that.
We did.
He cruised on
Did
the
we?
jetpack.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
he took off. Like it shows him like taking off.
Yeah,
pulling a
yeah.
rocket
Yeah.
man. And then
Some Baby Yoda, obviously.
obviously
Oh, the boop.
when you
and
push the button,
Yeah.
the whistling birds or whatever those things are.
Yeah.
Oh, we still haven't looked
The
that
screaming memes.
I know, right?
The screaming
The X-wing
demons?
shot.
The screaming memes. Screaming memes. Yeah,
The X-wing shot was my
the clouds.
favorite part. The speeder.
Speeder bikes. Also, yeah, if you look at that scene, it looked like there was some calamity had happened. There's some downed stormtroopers.
Yeah.
All sorts of cool stuff. But I think I liked literally just the intro when the music, like the score. That's what wrote singing.
Yeah. Like
Apparently
whatever
that I
was, it was
can't
cool.
I can't remember that band. There's a band that they're like Mongolian throat singing heavy metal band.
What?
Yeah.
It's pretty.
No.
But they're a real band and they're pretty legit. I've actually heard them before.
Like
And then-
live?
No, I haven't seen them live.
You went to Mongolia?
Yeah, I've
You
been
ate the
there.
beef?
Oh, love
Get it?
Mongolian beef. at
Yeah,
Disney.
you do. I've heard some stories about you and Mongolian beef. Makes you fart in the toilet
Those
and then
are one
flush
of my
it.
secrets.
There's a circle.
Hey, that was one of my secrets.
Oh,
But
it did come out of her butt.
But
Anyway, right, but Mandalorian.
and I believe he used them for that
Yeah.
part of the score, which I thought was
I
kinda
liked
rad.
it. I didn't know what it was, but it sounded really cool.
Well, everyone's like didgeridoo, and I did that too.
You did
I
what?
didn't. Yeah.
I immediately thought didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo? I don't know what that is.
A didgeridoo?
I don't know what a didgeridoo
It's like that
is.
long
The
tube
long
looking
tube,
thing that
Australian is
rests
like
on the ground.
What kind of tube was it made out of?
Like bright wood or something. That actually sounds exactly what it sounds like. I actually,
It's Australian.
I had a,
Oh, I thought it was a Dr. Seuss thing.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
I actually had a brunch in Cottonwood.
No, save it. We're gonna get into it.
All right,
Don't
check,
worry.
please.
What?
There's a time for everything.
Yeah, so we've upgraded. Obviously, this
Wait.
is the first podcast. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
You'll
This is
know.
our,
No.
this is-
I was gonna say. I just wanted to say because if people hear it, they're gonna be like, "What was she starting to say?" Maybe they'd say that. I don't know. But I was like, I was starting to say like, "Oh, one time I was at this brunch and you guys were like, anyways." Like,
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
She did start a story, but we did not.
We
listen.
did?
you guys.
She started
I
to tell a
did.
story.
And,
And we cut her off? Or
We
what?
didn't cut her off. We just
Wait, when
we
was
acted
it?
like she wasn't here,
When?
like just now.
We did that just now? I'm so sorry.
Ashley,
what was the story?
You went to
you're
a
trying
brunch one time?
now I'm crying laughing. No, and none of this is terrible build-up. But
Tell us a story that we've all now
pause to
made
listen
seem
to.
more dramatic. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I had a brunch and you know, and sometimes
When a
you know, and
didgeridoo
sometimes
comes out?
there's live music.
Yeah.
There was a man playing a didgeridoo, and it was the worst brunch I've ever been to.
What'd you eat?
I
there
think I probably
bottomless
had like
mimosa?
huevos rancheros, but
Can you say huevos one more time?
huevos
Rancheros.
rancheros.
Cool.
But it was just not. It was not the vibe. It was not.
Huevos.
I'm bonding I was like going in. I was going into a trance. It was like 45
One of these again.
It's like very meditative.
So speaking of didgeridoo,
I get taken to places easily, apparently.
I was at Lightning in a Bottle music festival, and they do sound healing.
He tried to get me to go like 3 times. I was scared and I couldn't afford it.
I really wanted to. I just couldn't afford it. But
Yeah.
you like lay there, zone out,
Yep.
and they like play, all the bowls.
Do you
and
take
singing bowls.
drugs?
You don't need drugs.
You don't need it, but I'm saying I was not on drugs during this experience.
When you do sound healing, you literally
But
go into
the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I was gonna say the guy just walked around and didgeridooed on people's bodies.
It sounds so weird when you said
He didgeridoo. I said
didgeridooed all over my body.
I said didgeridoo, but he didgeridoo.
Oh my gosh.
He just like walked around and was like, and I was just like,
I got heartburn.
Like he cleared up. He like broke up like any loose stools that were like, well, they weren't loose. Now they are loose.
He moved your bowels.
Literally.
With a didgeridoo.
He didgeridoo.
Anyways, also
That was awesome. Actually, it was the best part of it.
No,
Because it's like such a low like vibration. You like feel it.
Sound healing really is amazing, but not when I'm trying to eat brunch on a Saturday.
When you're trying to get
When I'm trying
crunk
to
on
eat
bottomless
upright,
Rancheros.
trying to eat some huevos rancheros.
Yeah, when you got bottomless mimosas cranking.
So I just want to say that side bit, but I also want to say I for sure was like, that's throat singing. Just want to.
Ashley thought it was a didgeridoo.
No, I didn't.
Guys, we all can't stop burping every time we drink this.
I know.
I like just threw my burp out there. If anyone's like, what did
caught
Aaron
it.
just do? I burped in my hand and I threw it.
Yeah.
We're
the
addicted to sparkling water.
ASMR burps that you're hearing, that's a bonus feature. You get that. You get a specialty burp pack
Capital
on Patreon.
bone and bonus.
What?
What are we talking about today?
We've lost control of the podcast.
What are we talking about today?
Okay,
reel it
so-
back in.
One thing that we did all do was we watched. We didgeridoo. We all didgeridoo watch
The devil all the time.
The Devil all the time.
Let's all say it really slow at the same time into the mic.
Hold
One,
on,
two,
hold on,
three.
hold on.
One.
The Devil.
One.
2, 1.
The devil all the time.
Ashley.
I'm sorry. I was about to
Should've
laugh so
burped.
hard.
So if you haven't watched The Devil All the Time and you're watching this,
It's on Netflix.
Pause.
swipe up, scroll over to Netflix, click on it, search. It's in the top 10. You really don't.
Okay, time out.
And watch the movie and then come back.
Yes. Okay. But if you don't pause yet.
They already did.
Like,
They
subscribe,
already
and
did.
follow.
Let's play.
All right. So anyway, whatever. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But yes, pause it because
Subscribe.
we're gonna talk about spoilers, and I feel like this movie has a lot of spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's a
whole
crazy
movie is
movie.
spoilers.
Basically,
Yeah,
you can't talk
this-
about it without spoilers.
Yeah, this is a spoiler talk.
You can't talk about this movie at all.
Yeah, we're diving deep into this movie. When I say diving deep,
He's got to do a wardrobe
He
change.
had that shit laying on the floor waiting.
waiting. I got
For
this.
those of you not watching,
He just put a different hat on. Everyone, it's
What is a?
it's like a red flat top
It's
cowboy
a
hat.
Jesse Cowgirl hat. An authentic Jesse Cowgirl hat that I got from Ashley, and here's your
it's not.
her car.
It is not authentic
Floor
at
of my
all.
car.
It was going to Goodwill. He just took
And
it.
I like it. Okay,
Honestly, I'm glad.
sue me.
I'm glad it's on your head because Goodwill. I don't know if it makes it to people. I think it goes into the garbage.
Screw that.
yeah.
Soundbite.
So sad.
Why?
Worried.
It's
Huevos.
it's it's distressing to know that when you try to go donate something, it actually is just going in the landfill.
Speaking of dones.
Nuts. Donuts. We have donuts. Yeah.
Sour cream.
We always have donuts.
Anyways,
Okay, so the devil all the time.
Okay, so let's just do kind of a maybe
by
let's
play.
let's try to do. I don't know how we'll do it, but I kind of want to give like a brief overall feelings about it.
I took notes like the entire time I was watching this movie.
Oh shit!
Like, that's-
Wow.
Well,
Okay,
that's
he's
great.
scrolling on his phone. There's a lot of notes.
Well, that's great because I'm sure we'll remember.
like yeah, like I went play by play. Like I was typing throughout this whole thing.
damn.
So anyway, well, I would say first thing, it kind of jumps timelines. A
Yeah,
bit. It
it
jumps
does.
around in timeline. It kind of
3 different eras, right?
Well, sort of, but not. Yeah, yes, kind of. But it's all centers essentially around Arvin.
Arvin, who's
But it has to do with what his father went through, what he goes through, and then there's also some other storylines that are kind of woven through, and they all kind of intertwine and connect.
You don't really know the main character at first. It just is giving you backstories on like
yeah.
3 different groups.
Yeah,
sort of,
and it
right?
kind of you kind of have to
3 different families.
There was a few times when I'd be like, oh, now we're back to right at the same time that happened in this city and another city.
Thanks to the narrator.
Yeah.
The narrator was very helpful.
If we didn't have a narrator.
Yeah.
It is based on a book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I've not read it either.
But I would be down to read
I
it.
also...
I would too.
I saw a trailer, but I feel like the trailer doesn't really give you a whole lot of information about what the movie's about.
No. It
And
just
I
lets you
forget.
know you should expect some crazy shit. Like
It just lets you know it's a
Yeah.
period, 19... I think 45 is when he comes home-ish.
Yeah.
Willard, Arvin's dad, comes home, and then it goes through about 65, 66. I think.
Sounds
Because
right.
they mentioned it being 65 a few
Yeah.
times, so I'm assuming it's right around that. So basically it's, the course of
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Roughly.
That sounds about right.
And Willard is played by Bill Skarsgård,
Bill Skarsgård.
who every
He
time I
did
see
well.
him, like, am I the only one who, like, we'll get into it.
He's
but when
Pennywise, right?
Yeah, he's Pennywise the clown. So when, like, he was, like, praying and his, like, eyes look up, he's got the freaking Pennywise eyes.
Oh, he was.
Pennywise
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, so
Oh.
Yeah.
he's a really good actor, but unfortunately there are some times where I'm like, oh shit, he's creepy as.
He is a
He
very
was-
odd-looking dude.
Yeah.
Well, and his
Even
brother,
he's, like,
his
handsome.
brother,
They're all-
brother
I think he's handsome.
is more handsome.
They're all pretty handsome. Their dad's pretty wild too.
I've never seen their dad.
Their dad is their dad's in Thor: The Dark World. If you guys will watch Thor: The Dark World,
That's
Yeah.
next.
Well-
That's
Dad.
on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, but I mean,
Um.
it's been a long time.
So they have good genes, but he does have an interesting, more
He has a
unique look.
unique.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and that was
Everyone
the
in
other
the-
thing. Yeah, everybody in this movie. So Tom Holland was the most classically good-looking character in this movie.
oh, there were some ugly cats in this
Every
movie.
single person in
Yeah.
this movie was extraordinarily plain-looking or ugly as hell.
I thought he was harsh, but I will say I think that they made.
I mean, they definitely
it
make
look
so Bucky.
Yeah.
a certain
Bucky.
way.
Oh, love Bucky.
So
So this cast as a whole is phenomenal.
they for sure stuffed his cheeks.
Oh yeah, dude, he was he
stuffed.
packed on some weight.
I think he had stuffed in his.
It looked like
cheeks.
he had cotton, like when I go to the dentist and you put
Yes,
like.
and I think they did that to make his cheeks look fatter because if you see some of his younger parts in the movie, it's not nearly as thick his face. So I think they did that to try to make him look a little older as time passed.
And I'm sure they did makeup, and even the image of how the movie looks
It's
old
definitely it's got a
Yeah.
very
like
very
vintage or what
yeah,
would
it's
you
got a cool
call
style
that?
to it. I did not I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more like what's the movie with
Prisoners.
no, Tom Hardy, Shia, and it's like the same kind of backwoods
Holes.
country
I didn't see it.
bootleg.
Holes. Tom Hardy was totally in Holes.
It's where they're
That's the
running
only
like
Shia
they're
Buff
running
movie I
know
like
what you're talking about,
bootleg
but I didn't
booze.
see
You know what I'm
it.
talking about?
Yeah.
Shoot, I can't think of what it's called. I thought it was gonna be kind of like that, where it's just kind of like one family versus another family, and there's like drama, and then there's like fights and conflicts.
Yeah.
And this was way darker and had way more like personal tragedy.
Oh yeah.
And
Like,
I didn't expect it to be, and it didn't. I had no idea what to expect, and this is not what I was expecting.
Yes. So when the movie ended, the first thought I had was, "Oh, this was a story about a boy and his dog." Like,
Oh.
and I was kind of like with some crazy shit
in between.
in between.
That's a very simplified.
Yeah, like
Like if they could say like, hey, like if you wanted to go just connect those 2 points and say the rest is the details, you could do that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because he he goes back because he does forgive his dad, right? He realizes that he just was going to do anything to be with his mom.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
he
let's
kind of had
let's
peace.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning before we get too
Yeah.
deep into that, because I think that's essentially what happens.
Okay,
What do you got on there?
so
What's your first
Yeah,
note?
what do you got?
I'm surprised I didn't write it down. But the first thing we see is Bill Skarsgård. His character's name is Willard. So Willard is the father of Arvin, But Willard is in the war. What is that?
Arvin's not alive yet.
Arvin's not alive. What war is it?
1945, World War II.
World War II.
He gets back from World War II.
But what did they see? Remember what he saw? This is
Oh
what,
my
scarred
goodness.
us.
So they were
Colonel.
him and some of his soldiers were kind of cruising through. They were in Japan,
Yeah.
and they come across a man who's crucified.
Yep.
And they think he's dead, and they come up and they check his dog tag.
And he was skinned, right? Or was he burned?
I think he was just really messed up.
Might have
They
been
don't
burned.
really show you a whole lot. Like they
it
kind
was
of
pretty quick. Like they show it, but it was quick.
It was
you're
covered
right,
in.
he
It was
did
like covered
not.
in
He was
blood.
covered in blood. I couldn't tell if he was skinned or if he was burned.
I
or
don't
what.
think he was skinned, but he might have been.
You're right. It was not normal skin because he was covered in blood
Yeah.
and flies.
And so
Yeah.
then they check in the dog tag, and he takes a huge deep breath.
Yeah, so
They
it turns out he's
realize-
alive.
They realize he's alive, and then Willard, puts him out of his misery.
He
essentially.
shot me.
He shot me.
shot him in
This
the
is
head.
a little
and then
callback
that-
to our last video.
Yeah, and that that pirate shot me.
So yeah, put the dude out of his misery.
Put the dude out of his misery, but that's obviously scarred him severely.
Scarred him for life
He couldn't-
because he couldn't look at a cross without thinking of that.
So
Which
it made
makes
praying
sense.
very hard.
Yes, it
And
made
this
praying
is
for him very hard.
obviously in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Take West Virginia and Ohio back
West
and
Virginia
forth.
and Ohio back and forth, and
Ohio.
Mead,
Little
Ohio,
shout out.
and Knock 'em Stiff, West Virginia was the town.
Knock 'em stiff.
And
No, it was Knock 'em Stiff, Ohio? No.
I thought it was 10 hours drive is what
Okay,
they said.
okay.
I
think you're right.
So Knock 'em Stiff and Mead, but what was I gonna say?
We were talking about praying.
Oh, I was gonna say this time period in that area is heavily centered around a church and
Yeah.
religion and praying. Like that's a huge part of
Yeah.
that culture. So for him to not even be able to look at a cross without imagining a dude
Yeah.
that he had to put out of his misery hanging on it is
Yeah.
a little rough for him.
So what what happens is Willard comes home from the war. He makes a pit stop at a diner,
We probably
right?
don't have to go play by play. Do we want to go play?
We don't have to, but we're
But
it kind of just sets up
Okay.
his mom.
Yeah.
All right. Oh
Yeah, we
sure.
won't dive super deep into it, but
Oh,
basically
yeah.
Introduce
sets
his
up
mom,
his
yeah.
mom. Yeah. So stops at a diner, meets a girl who he ends up marrying.
Yes.
He goes home, basically
Can't get her out of his head,
Can't
kinda
get her
deal.
out of his head. Mom, he's kind of that. You're starting to see like mom and that family is all about the church, all about praying, and Willard's kind of like
And mom wants to introduce him to another gal who he's not really down with.
who goes to the church
And then she falls for a creepy pastor guy.
So this is the first note that I have was the creepy pastor guy. I don't even remember his
My
name.
God. So that was Dudley from Harry Potter, just so you know.
Dud? Really?
Yes, that was Dudley.
I thought he looked familiar, but I was like, dang, he got really skinny.
Yeah, he got
Yeah,
fucking creepy
really
and gross
skinny.
looking. His eyes were too close together.
He looked odd.
Well,
Dang, that's
he
crazy.
was perfect for this part.
He was
Yeah.
horrifying.
So this guy, whatever his name was, we're just gonna call him Preacher Number 1 because
Or
there's
Preacher Dudley.
Preacher
His name was Roy.
Roy. That's right, Roy. Okay, so Roy,
We're gonna call him Preacher Number 1.
Southern preacher,
Roy.
real animated guy.
He is fascinated with testing his faith,
Yeah,
doing things that are dangerous,
extreme.
and hoping his faith will get him out of it. So his brother is in a wheelchair, and his brother is in the wheelchair because he drank tetrachloride or some sort of poison.
Yeah.
And prayed it away, kind of a deal. And obviously ended up in a wheelchair, so it didn't work exactly how he had planned. But it was a test, right? It's a test.
Foreshadowing.
So in this moment, he claims he's very
He
scared
used to
of
be
spiders.
afraid of spiders
And
until he encountered the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit helped him, and he pours a whole jar of spiders on his head. And I don't know what that was supposed to do except show that he's not scared of them. But then that gets homegirl that was trying to get set up with Willard all hot and bothered, and is like, wow, that guy really likes the Jesus. And I'm
Bless
gonna
me.
I love me
Bless
some
me.
man with
Yeah, she
spiders.
got all up in his business, was like, bless me. And he's like, I will. I'll give you my Holy Spirit.
Oh
I'll
my
put the
gosh.
Lord in you.
I'll give you the big Roy.
Big Roy, little
But
Roy.
is that what you were gonna? What did you want to say about
Nope,
Roy?
that was it. I literally have preacher with spiders, scary dude, and then Spoiler, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
I mean, obviously Willard goes back and meets the girl he met at the diner. They fall in love. They get married. They move to a house in Mead.
wait a second. What
Knockham's
is Roy's lady? What's her name?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Okay. So
they
the
have a
mom
child
wanted
named
to
Lenora.
set Charlotte up with
No.
Willard.
Yes.
No, Lenora is the daughter of Roy and...
Charlotte.
No, Charlotte is Arvin's mom.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Helen, right? Was it Helen?
No.
I don't remember her name.
You're
I
right.
don't
Yeah.
have her name.
Lenora was the daughter of
Lenora's the daughter of Roy and
Cindy Lou Who.
and
Bless me,
Lenora's
chick.
mom.
Bless me, Mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl that wanted
Bless
the
me,
Holy
mommy.
Spirit.
So they have a child. Meanwhile, Willard and Charlotte have a child
named
who's
Arvin.
Arvin. Arvin is the
Main character.
main character.
character
This is
that
what the
you
story's
find
about.
out, yeah.
So yeah, well, I think at this point we're like 30 to 40 minutes in before we even meet Arvin. Like I think there's like a while before.
Because then you meet
yeah.
some characters at the diner. That
Yeah, like you meet.
That
Actually, they do have a little aside where they show him driving home in his truck and meeting Arvin out front and seeing that he got punched at school. And then
it
he
was
takes
really quick.
he takes him to pray, and
They
that's
do
they
some-
introduce you to Arvin at the beginning, but they don't really talk about it. And
That's
then they
true.
go back and tell
That's true.
story,
That's
and then
true.
they revisit that moment.
there's some back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so
a
it
lot of
jumps.
back and forth in this movie. So yeah.
But anyway, I mean,
But it's easy to follow. I mean,
it was easy
Yeah.
to follow. Yeah.
who was the narrator?
I don't know.
I liked his voice.
I thought
He
about
had,
it.
a,
Yeah.
he had a good voice.
I was thinking about that actually earlier when we were in the car
Yeah.
earlier. And then, long story short, there's lots of kind of back and forth story building. Arvin's mom Charlotte gets cancer. And
Oh wait, I got some good stuff about this. So basically, Willard and Arvin are praying. They call it the prayer log,
there's
right?
a prayer log.
It's a prayer log.
Willard put a cross in the woods, and that's where he goes to pray.
In their
Yes,
backyard.
because Charlotte got
Cancer.
cancer. So Arvin's mom's got cancer. They're praying.
Well, he put that there before.
He had it before. Yeah,
he
yeah.
had that there before.
But now Willard's back to praying because this is his wife.
Wasn't that a part of Willard's childhood?
No.
Prayer log?
So basically,
so.
he had not prayed since
The war.
the
Yeah.
war, since he saw that, and then when he met Charlotte, got married, had kids, all that stuff, moved to that house. When they were moving into the house,
That's right.
he found that area in the woods.
That's right.
And for whatever reason, he felt
compelled
to pray again, and so he started praying again, and that was a good moment for him. But it turns out to be a little toxic.
Yeah, so in the moment that Willard and Arvin are praying on the log, there's a couple of hunters behind them, and they start making comments loudly about Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
And Willard ignores the comments. These guys are basically saying, yo, I'm going to go bang this dude's wife right now.
Yeah.
Like, let's go
In
do it.
front of him, yeah. Look,
In
he's
front of
not
them
at-
and
he's
in
not
front
at
of
his-
His
Arvin.
kid.
And, Arvin's got that look on his face like, oh, shit, like, what are we going to do? Like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Willard turns around, gives a look, and then goes back to praying. And
Well, he goes. This is the Lord's time.
yeah,
Don't worry about that. This is the Lord's time or whatever.
Yeah.
And this was right after Arvin had been punched at school.
Yes.
And his sentiment that he said to him, Willard said to him was, they may start it, but you always finish it.
yeah,
And then so Willard was like, wait a minute, those guys just started, or Arvin was like, well, those guys just started it, and he's like, well, this is praying
Are you
time.
gonna
This is
finish
praying
it?
time.
Yeah.
And then later,
yeah. So then
he goes,
my note is Skarsgård beat the shit out of them fools. So basically,
Yeah.
he takes Arvin, finds these dudes,
and it randomly basically jumps him.
jumps them, beats the
Beats the
shit out of them.
three
As
dudes.
Arvin watches from the truck.
And Arvin watches from the truck along with Jack. Jack is the name of the dog,
Jack's
right?
the dog, yep.
Yeah.
So they got a dog. Arvin's got a dog named Jack. Because
Yeah.
again, at the end of this, to me, this is a story about Arvin and Jack.
It's almost like an old-fashioned John Wick.
Oh man.
Sort of, but not really.
So
that was a joke.
He beats the crap out of these fools, gets back in the car, looks at Arvin and says, "There's a lot of no good son of bitches out there." And Arvin goes, I love this. I cracked up and I had to write it down. Arvin goes, "More than 100?"
Yeah.
And he goes, and then Arvin says, "Don't forget the sugar for mama." And so it's like, to me, immediately,
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit. Like, this is a good boy thinking about his mama. Dad just got done defending his wife. And when he said, "Don't forget the sugar for mama,"
Yeah.
to me, that was like, total foreshadowing. Like, oh great, they're gonna get the sugar, they're gonna go back, and something not good is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was
True.
basically him showing Arvin how he goes, you always finish it.
Yeah.
And he goes, remember what I said to you. And then he told him basically, like, pick your time. Essentially. He said, like, you're not going to just walk up to 3 bullies who are picking on you and try to fight them because you're going to get beat up.
Yeah.
But if you let them beat you up, you might not finish it then, but you will finish it.
Yeah.
And that's what you do to the bullies.
And so he took that, and then he goes, let's go get a candy bar.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and he says that was one of the best
Charleston
days.
Chew.
Charleston Chew. And he's like, that was the best day I've ever had with my father. And then they go home and they find Charlotte passed out, collapsed in the kitchen.
That's when they learn she has cancer.
Yes. And this brings them back to the praying log. This was like one of the most emotional scenes for me when
it was hard to watch.
They're screaming to God. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was hard because Willard was obviously angry, very angry at the situation, and he was clearly taking it out on
Arvin.
He was telling like, "What do you want your mama to die?" Like,
well,
you're
yeah.
not praying
So
hard.
basically, Arvin, the camera looks at Arvin, and Arvin's off looking at Jack, his dog, because it's like, dude, that's my homeboy, that's my dog. My dog's just chilling, and you get distracted. He's a kid. Like,
he's like 10.
Probably like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And he's distracted. So Willard freaking smacks him upside the head so hard, and goes, "Pray, G, damn it!" I don't like saying that word. He says, "Pray, G, damn it!" And he's like, "You want your mama to die?" So they start screaming and like
shoving his head down.
Yeah, like
that was sad.
I have a lot of like emotions and like things that I can relate to. Like, look, my dad didn't smack me upside the head ever. My dad didn't scream at me. But like I was raised in the church, and like, you know, I've prayed my whole life. And I've had moments where like you're literally like on your knees like screaming to God. And like to me, like that whole scene just like hit me so hard because they're just like screaming like, "Save my wife! Save my wife, Lord!" And he's like, "Arvin, scream, yell it out!" And he's like, "Save my mama! Clean the cancer from my mama!" Like that's tough to watch because at the end of the day, like you know what's happening, like you know what's gonna happen.
They're just so desperate and want anything.
They're so desperate, and desperation is what basically
and leads Willard to do. I mean, essentially, he felt the need to sacrifice Jack, the dog.
Yes.
So awful.
Yeah. So the narrator basically comes in and says, you know, Willard realizes that in the Bible there are instances where the Lord asks people to prove their faith by a sacrifice, and this took it to like the extreme. Like an extreme.
I was not expecting this.
No, I wasn't either. You guys talk about it.
I didn't know because right before it happens, you see Willard walk past Arvin's bedroom, and Arvin is petting.
He's petting
Jack's head, saying, "Don't worry, God will hear us."
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then he like pauses at the door, and I didn't know. Willard was like, "Oh, nice, good idea. Like I'm gonna take Jack."
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and then he like lured him in with some food, and then he shot him, and
shot
then
the dog.
You don't see till later what he did with the dog.
Yeah, so on my notes here, I got WTF. He killed the dog as a sacrifice. Craziness. Like what?
Yeah,
like
some.
I was not expecting it. Like there's some like. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie where like you're like, all right, I know what's gonna happen. Like that, I was like, damn it, like I did not expect that to happen.
And then
and poor
obviously
Arvin. That was his buddy.
That was his
So
his
he
best
was
friend, just a kid and his dog.
He was very sad.
So
then Charlotte passes away.
So then mom dies, and you're just like, gosh dang it, like
we all knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
this
like,
kid lost his dog. He lost his mom.
Now he feels guilty.
He's
probably thinking, I didn't pray hard enough. It's my fault, something like that.
I think anybody would do.
Yeah. And so
and the dog's dead for what?
For
now?
nothing.
For what now? Yeah. And so it's the same night, right?
They had just gotten back from the
funeral. And somebody left a pie on their porch, and so Arvin's eating the pie, and he's like covered in blueberry pie.
Yeah.
And then he
cherry pie because it's red. Looked like blood. Remember?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was blueberry.
No, it's cherry because the cop thought it was blood.
Oh, okay. And then he Did he just decided to go look for his dad? Is that what happened?
No, he wants to give his dog a proper burial.
Yeah, so he's eating the pie and
that's
he says,
what it was. He goes,
wish you were here, Jack. When Dad goes to sleep, I'm going to give you a proper burial just like they did to Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And
so he goes to get the dog who is at the prayer log.
So yeah, at night he thinks his
Hanging on
dad's
the cross.
asleep.
Well, we don't know that yet. We didn't realize that Jack had been crucified.
Well, I know. He walks down to... Oh.
Right, so that's not revealed to us yet. So he goes down and he finds his dad, Willard.
It looks like he's face down praying.
Looks like he's praying. And he's like, Dad, like, what are you doing? Or something like that. And rolls him over and he's committed suicide.
Yeah,
he's slit his wrist.
Yeah, he slit his wrist.
And so Arvin goes down to the gas station nearby his house and they call. The sheriff comes out and...
Sheriff played by none other than my man. Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan, probably my second favorite character in all the Marvel movies, honestly.
Really?
I love Tom Holland being number one. Sebastian Stan probably
so you
being
got your
number
1 and 2 in
I've
movie.
like this whole cast has
super good
people from some of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, I liked it. Where is that one guy in though?
The serial killer?
No.
Oh no, what's his name?
Timothy Blake or something. What's his name?
No.
Who are you talking about?
I'll think about it. Yeah, he is
Timothy something.
He was in Watchmen, the TV show, not the movie.
Who's he playing in the movie?
That's what I'm saying. He's credited, and I could not find him in the movie.
Maybe he's the narrator.
Oh my gosh. That was a smart thought.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about.
Actually, maybe. Now that I'm thinking about it, that might be him.
Good.
Oh my god, I feel so stupid.
Look at you.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
You're so smart. You're so smart.
Anyways, I thought this was hilarious because the moment they show Sebastian Stan, he's getting a freaking HJ in his police car.
Oh yeah.
And he's like in his police uniform.
In the Pepsi cup.
And then he goes, "You get it all in the cup." Like what?
And then he throws the cup.
Yeah, before that, he's like, "Don't worry, like it won't just be all about Pepsi cups and cars."
He's like, "Someday we're gonna have a bed." Like,
yeah, like so weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
And so, but anyway, he goes and meets Arvin, and Arvin takes him to the prayer log and shows him his dad dead, and also Jack, the dog, is crucified.
Yeah, so, yeah. I thought this was weird, though. If you guys noticed, when Sebastian Stan shows up to Arvin's got the pie all over him. Excuse me, it looked like blood. And he was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "That's pie."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay. To me, Arvin had like zero emotion. Like, did it come off to you guys like that? Like, I thought this for the longest time, and even like another hour into the movie, I was like, I bet it's gonna come back, and then it didn't. But I thought for sure, like, it made you think
Arvin did it.
Yeah, like he ate pie, but then it was gonna come back and be like, no, it wasn't pie, and like I killed my dad. Like, cause he just looked so strange. Like he had zero emotion.
I think he had been psychologically abused by his father during the whole time that the mother was dying.
Yeah.
That he was kind of just like,
I think he was just
I got nothing.
desensitized
He was
to death at that
desensitized,
point.
yeah.
But I do see why you would think that. I thought it was kind of eerie that, it looked like blood, and then the cop was sort of like, "Did you have anything to do with this?" sort of question.
And so they take him to the prayer log, and then the gory stuff in this movie, they don't show it. Like it's
Clips.
quick, but like you're just like at first I was like, what the hell is that? Like, is that the dog? Like, so yeah.
It's like the idea of the things that these people are doing makes me crazy.
Yeah, like the dad thought, I'm gonna crucify this dog. And even like if you try and get in his head, like, yo, you saw one of your fellow soldiers crucified and it scarred you so bad that you wouldn't pray or even look at a cross for the longest time. And now, like, you get the idea of sacrificing a dog and you're gonna like crucify it.
It was wild.
It's crazy.
It was wild.
But needless to say, this is just the beginning of Arvin's terrible life.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Oh my gosh. And then so then he goes and lives with his grandmother, who also has custody of Lenora,
Roy and
Who's Roy and what her
Helen?
name's?
I thought it was Helen.
Might
but
be Helen.
It might be.
It could have started with
I
an
thought it
H.
was something else.
Helen. I don't know.
That daughter, and then the story of how she no longer has parents
Yeah,
is
so it cuts
also
back
terrible.
to the past.
goes back.
So in the past, Roy is, so at one point he got bitten by a spider.
Yeah, the narrator says he got bit by a spider and turned his head into the size of a pumpkin.
And so he basically hid in a closet for a long time for the swelling to go down.
He thought it was a test
and it was
from
a test
God,
from
right?
God, and he basically was just screaming and praying in the closet. And as he emerged thinking, I need to test my faith further.
Yeah. So he
heard
had
God.
like a revelation and
And
You didn't
apparently,
quite know what it is.
apparently he thought he could do things that he couldn't do.
So he says, Helen.
So he says, Helen, let's take the baby over to Willard's mother's house.
Because they're good friends.
Because they're good friends. And because Lorena's mother, her family, Lorena's mother's family had all burned up in a fire. So
Lorena's
she was alone
mom's
as well.
family.
oh
Helen.
yeah, that's right.
Helen,
Gosh,
we're
yeah.
calling her Helen. I hope her name's
I hope
Helen.
her. Yeah.
Whatever.
Why don't you look it
I'll
up?
look it up. We got it. Right.
Yeah. And so they all burned up in a
Willard's
fire.
mom kind of became like a mother figure.
She came a little bit of a mother figure to her, and then so she was gonna watch the baby, and they were decided to go out for a drive and then like a walk to go pray in the woods.
Because she's like, I'm so excited my husband came out of the closet.
Yeah, we're gonna go pray in the woods or something like that.
We're going to take a drive. She had been bringing him dinners and lunches.
Yeah, she would feed
She
them.
didn't bat an eye. Like, she was just like, okay.
Well, she kind of like understands his need to be so full of faith, that's what attracted to her to him in the first place was his devotion.
Yeah,
which was slightly psychotic, but
anyways.
Dude, I'm having a hard time finding this.
Oh, just type in the devil all the time.
I am. I can't find this lady.
I'll find it right now. 30 seconds.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
So-
keep talking. I got it. I've got it.
They go on the drive
They go on a drive, and so before this,
with the wheelchair brother, too.
the wheelchair brother's in the back, and you see him sharpening a screwdriver while they're sitting on the porch getting ready to go.
It's Helen.
It is Helen?
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
He's sharpening a screwdriver, and you're like, I thought it seemed very much like the brother in the wheelchair was kind of always third wheeling, and he was very miserable, and I thought he was going to off himself when I saw him sharpening the screwdriver. I thought he was going to commit suicide.
Yeah, it did seem like a foreshadowing to something.
And then so they get in the car and they're driving, and he's like, I figured we'd go stop and walk through the forest and pray.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what about your brother? And he's like, it's fine, I can sit in the car. Like,
I thought that was I was like,
He's
I
like,
thought it was
maybe I'll
going
take a
somewhere
nap.
else, but
yeah, he's
I
like,
knew it was going somewhere dark, but I didn't think
Yeah.
this was.
Yeah.
And so they go out, they find a nice
well,
spot.
at this point, I kind of had a feeling.
Well, yeah.
Now, once they started
Okay.
walking out, I did have
You're
a
like,
feeling.
okay,
Okay.
psycho stuff's going
It's
down.
like this guy. I was like, this guy is got some
I
shit
thought he
going
was
on in
going to
his brain.
drive the car, like, off a bridge.
Oh, really?
That's what I thought, maybe. But okay.
So they kneel down to pray, and what was she saying? Like, she was saying something nice to
No,
him.
she was about to go kiss him. She, like, leaned in, I think. Or, like,
Oh,
to
yeah.
smell,
Or he grabbed her face or something like that, like, looked at her
Like,
face.
they were, like,
And he stabs her in the neck with
that
a screwdriver.
he says, God is in you, or what does he say?
He said something like that, then stabbed her in the neck.
Something.
Like, God is with you.
Oh,
or
my goodness.
God.
And so he stabs her in the neck, and she's literally like,
She's like,
what
what
is
the
going on?
fuck?
And she says Lenora, the daughter's name.
Yeah.
I said Lorena earlier.
Yeah,
Lenora, and then dies. She
Yeah.
bleeds out.
It
It's
took a little longer than I was hoping.
Her to
That
die.
one
Yeah,
made
she
me
kind of it took her a while to bleed out and die.
I think it would have taken longer in real life.
Oh yeah, but it did.
But
it
they
seemed
played
longer.
that out for you a little bit.
And so he does this in order because he believes
he can
he can
resurrect.
possibly resurrect her. So he calls out to God and
Oh,
says,
man.
resurrect her, bring her back to life, bring her back, and so obviously it's not working. He gets angry and he's like shaking her. He's realizing that it's not working.
He's like,
like,
wait,
fuck. It starts
maybe
to
I'm
sink
just an
in.
idiot, and
Maybe
that's
I'm-
not what God told me.
yes. And
Maybe
so,
that's what the devil told me.
And so the next scene is
Devil
them.
is all around.
The next scene is the brother and
This
him
was
driving
awesome.
in the car.
I have this quote.
This is
good.
so good.
Do you know it?
Devil and him driving in the car. The brother and him driving the car, and he's like, maybe I'll go tell the cops it was an accident, turn myself in, And then he says, the brother says,
I want to see if you know it. I had to write it down. I wouldn't have known it. But
he goes,
it's funny.
he goes, what do you say? He goes, it's not an accident.
He says, it's not an accident. You stabbed your wife in the neck with a screwdriver, then tried to resurrect her, then buried her body. It doesn't sound like an accident to me, Roy. Sounded like a crazy person murdered his wife.
Yeah.
Yes, it was so good.
Awesome. Because it's like, that's exactly,
that's exactly what happened.
And
Like,
his brother called him
A
out.
freaking
Like,
psychopath.
no, dude, you're psycho.
But like, he was so chill about it too, though. It's like, nah, you're just a psychopath. You murdered
He's
your
like,
wife.
we're
Like,
going to
And
leave
then he
town
goes,
now and change
and then he
our
goes,
names.
just keep driving south, stay off the main roads, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
And I mean, back in 1950, whatever year this was, I'm sure that probably could happen. You could just go to
Yeah.
another town.
yeah.
So that is how, obviously, Lenora has no parents. But after this, the wheelchair brother falls asleep in the car.
Yeah.
And they pull over at some point, and
He wakes
Roy
up.
gets out of the car and goes and hitchhikes. He essentially ditches his brother.
This is his crippled brother.
We never see him again. Whatever happens to
No.
him.
No, yeah, we
never
never
see
see
him
him
again.
again. Nope.
I wonder if
He
he's
just
still
wakes
sitting
up
I
out.
thought the
saying,
same
Roy?
thing.
He's like, Roy, looking out the window, can't move, nothing. I wonder
Yeah.
if he can drive.
I wonder too.
So Roy's hitchhiking, and he gets picked up
By
by
another storyline.
Another storyline.
And you had met these people
yes, for like 1 second.
1 second at the diner in the very beginning.
Yeah, you see this guy and woman meet at the same time that Willard runs into Charlotte, his deceased wife,
Yes.
for the first
and
time.
I don't remember their
Yes.
names. I know it's Jason Clark.
And
I don't
Is
know.
it Sis? Wait, not Sissy.
I should have it pulled up.
Sandy.
Sandy?
I think her name was Sandy.
And he was.
And his name was
Carl.
I was gonna say Ken or
Carl.
Carl. Yeah,
Carl.
Carl and Sandy.
Yeah.
And and so they pick up hitchhikers. They make them do weird sexual things.
Yes.
Take their photos.
So Clark basically gets people to have
Carl.
sex with his wife.
Clark is his real name.
Oh,
Oh
in
yeah,
real life.
yeah.
Oh.
Carl, right?
Yeah, Carl.
So Carl will get people to have sex with his wife.
Yeah.
He takes pictures of it,
Yeah.
and then he kills them.
Then they
Sometimes
mutilate
chops
them.
off
Yeah.
their dong.
Chops off the
Is
wings.
that what was going on?
That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Did
Yeah,
they chop it off?
Yeah.
it was
Because I
gone.
never saw like a knife or like what.
It was gone.
Gone.
I saw one time where I was like, "What happened there?" But I didn't know if
think
they like
did it a
shot it
lot
off
when they
or
look
like.
at
I think they did it a
the
fair
photos.
amount. Yeah.
I think it's.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
freaking weird.
Yeah, they would
Talk
like
about weird.
They call their victims the models.
the models.
Yes.
They set it up. She's the bait. Is that what they said? Or she's the something they
Something.
said.
She's the bait. Yeah.
And he's the shooter.
Yeah, I don't remember what they called
Oh,
him, but yeah.
But they
the
pick
victims are all the models.
they pick up Roy, and they take him. They say they're gonna take him somewhere, bring him over to a nice next to the lake,
lakefront.
Little
yeah.
picnic.
kind of like a dam. It looks like, and he's like, "You're gonna go down. I'm doing you a favor, man. Go hang out with that girl. She's a pretty girl." And he's like, "No." Roy just says no a bunch of times. Then he goes, "Okay, well,
I
I'm gonna
think
kill
at
you."
one point he said like, "I'm a good Christian man, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And it's like he says, "I'm a good Christian man," but he just murdered his wife. Like,
Yeah,
I
like
know.
literally an hour and a half earlier.
yeah,
And then
Well,
so he
I think
immediately.
he did say, he's like, you don't want these hands on you.
yeah. He says
Oh,
that
yeah.
to the
Because
girl.
he like knows
Yeah.
I'm a sinner, probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, good call.
And it's funny. There was a lot of instant karma in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, so Roy murders his wife, ditches his brother, hitchhikes. The people that pick him up happen to be serial killers that mutilate people and like
Yeah.
take their photos and kill them. So he gets shot in the head.
Because he refused.
Because he refused to play the
to have
game.
sex. Yeah. with
he
the
refused to
guy's
play the
wife.
game.
That is kind of what we were talking about. Like, this movie is so dark, and there's really no happy moment,
But it's oddly satisfying.
but it's oddly satisfying.
because all the people that suck get what's coming.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, no one makes out in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, really nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Literally nobody makes out in this. Except maybe that little old guy that sits out in front of the market.
The gas guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
How does he make out? He
I
does
don't know,
nothing. He just
yeah.
sits there.
Well, he's just simple life.
So,
His life didn't get better or worse, I guess.
Literally, he just
He's like
stayed.
a supporting character that had like 9 lines.
Oh.
Yeah, and I guess we don't have any idea about
I mean, but okay, here's the other thing. We are barely still
Yeah,
dipping a toe into the complexity of this movie.
Oh yeah. Like it is a crazy movie.
It just keeps.
So basically, Roy dies, and then
we haven't even started telling the story of Arvin.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. So, and now
true.
it goes straight into Arvin, and so now you have Arvin, who has no mother and father now. Lenora, who has no mother and father now.
Yes.
They now become step siblings and live with Arvin's grandmother.
Yes.
And
uncle, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and his uncle, which that's a weird.
Which was
Yeah, Uncle Erskine.
which we never really.
I never really understood that relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
The uncle
The
and the
uncle.
grandma.
Yeah.
like the grandma I get, but I never understood like
is
why
like-
was it
I guess
uncle?
that's her other son, right?
1950. Yeah, I think it's. Well, no, it was Willard's uncle.
So it's her brother, maybe.
I thought it was
Maybe a brother.
We just called him Uncle Erskine.
I don't know.
But she didn't have a husband, I guess.
yeah, I don't know.
The other thing,
It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what
But
that
you don't
relationship
question
was.
it because everything's fucked up.
Yeah. So now we know they're step siblings. They're living with grandma, and now it
They're
jumps to the
orphans.
future, and we now see Tom Holland. Which, woo, man, Tom
Thank
Holland.
goodness gracious.
You love Tom Holland.
I liked Spider-Man.
I love Tom Holland.
You love Tom Holland?
I love Tom Holland. I love
What would you do to be able to meet him?
anything.
Really?
That's weird.
Like what?
That's honestly really kind of creepy.
Anything.
That you would do anything to beat Tom
No,
Holland.
but like honestly,
You're a 30-year-old man.
He loves Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. No, Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man actor. Like, he's awesome. I've seen him in other movies.
He's a good
really
actor.
good. He's really good.
It's good.
But yeah, I love this cast. I love
He's
Tom
good at
Holland.
accents, to be honest
My
with
note
Yeah,
says,
he's-
"Enter Tom Holland." ... My man. So
man.
now it's like Arvin's birthday, and how old is he here? High school age? Like, I think he's 18. He's got to be.
I think
18.
he's out of high school.
He's
'Cause
gotta
he
be-
picks up Lenore from school.
Okay, so he's 18,
And-
maybe
Oh.
19
Yeah,
years
he's,
old.
he's not in school because he's talking about what are you gonna do now that you're out of school?
Yeah,
And he's gonna
that's
go
right.
work
He's
on the
gonna get a
road
job.
crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets his dad's gun for his birthday.
The Luger,
And-
which was something he brought back from the war.
The war, yeah. And
The German Luger.
He seemed weird about it. Like,
Well, I think he just realized that was he had nothing from his father,
yeah.
and so that's why he's like,
But it
this is the
didn't-
best gift I ever had.
Yeah,
got.
but it
I don't
kind
have
of just
any.
seemed like there was no emotion. Like, it seemed weird. Like, yeah, he was like, no, this is the best birthday gift I ever got. Thank you. And, like, it was just kind of like, oh. Like, I don't know. It seemed like he was still, like, a little bitter towards his father.
I think that's
Maybe that's what it
To
was.
me,
I think
it
that's
seemed
probably
like
true.
it could have been one of two things. He could have been bitter towards his father, or he's now a young man, and that was a very emotional gift that he just received, and he tried to play it up. He tried to act like it was
true.
not
Yeah.
that. He tried to act nonchalant.
Yeah.
true. Maybe a little bit of both.
So,
Maybe.
obviously this is a really complex story, and I feel like
I know,
we're taking so much time.
Yeah,
But
we're an hour in.
Yeah,
Are we?
basically, Arvin is protecting Lenore from school bullies. Arvin beats up these school bullies.
It's
He
pretty
basically-
epic.
he
in the same
basically
manner-
does what his
in the
dad
same
did.
manner that his dad taught him.
That honestly
Um,
might be the most.
And I loved the
satisfying.
callback that Arvin said to Lenora. He said, "There's a lot of no good son of bitches out there," and I was like, "Oh man, that's
I
cool."
quoting his papa.
Thought for sure he was gonna ask her if she wanted to go get candy.
Oh yeah,
man.
you thought she.
I
he
said
was
they're gonna go
ask
get
for a
candy.
Damn,
Charleston
that'd
I
be
cheesesteak.
thought that would have been. I thought he was gonna be like, "You want to go get a candy?"
That would have been full circle.
Just like his father asked him, but obviously he didn't. But so yeah, he handled that. But then after that, there's a new preacher in town, and
yeah.
he is
Enter
Robert
Robert
Pattinson,
Pattinson.
and he's a
Ooh.
fucking creep.
So creep. And I'm telling you, like,
So creepy.
I've been doing more and more Robert Pattinson stuff since I heard that he was going to be the Batman, because we had this
Oh,
talk
yeah.
last time. Twilight. This dude is so freaking good.
He is.
Like,
he is. A
I
good
like
actor.
honestly-
he
the
really
last
wasn't in the movie that much, but like
Oof.
he
you
still-
hate
No,
him.
kinda stole the show,
I
like-
hated him.
You
you
hate him.
hated him.
Yeah,
Like, don't
I
get me
mean-
wrong,
His
I hate him.
character.
I hate him too. Like, he's a freaking creep. and
I
loser.
hated the character.
The
I didn't hate
yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
He was creepy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like total.
He's
creep.
he,
So
he
that
did a
means
good
he did
job
a
of
great
making
job.
you not like him.
Yes,
Yeah, he
but
did a
like
good
the
job.
acting is so damn good.
Yeah.
His accent's spot on. So we meet let's not get into like I got into the whole like him licking his fingers like, and it's like we don't really need to get into that.
Oh
In the
yeah,
liver?
essentially he embarrasses his grandmother.
Arvin's grandma.
She brings a dish to the potluck when he first shows up,
That
and
was a bummer.
it's chicken liver and onions. And he basically talks about how it's a poor person's meal, and he says he's going to eat it so that nobody else has to.
Yeah.
But when he dipped his fingers in that, what was
It was
that
creepy.
supposed to be?
It was creepy as
Gross.
hell. Like
I
And
couldn't
then
tell if he was
licked
like
the
complimenting
blood.
it or not.
I thought he was, yeah, and then he kind of.
I thought it was
bad.
a compliment, but
So I feel like there was some weird ulterior.
maybe
motive
that
there.
was a weird foreshadowing,
was a
like
power play.
with
Yeah.
Lenora.
Yeah. So Arvin used to take Lenora to her mother's grave where she would pray. And now all of a sudden, Arvin leaves Lenora by herself
to go beat the shit out of those
to
guys.
go beat the shit out of those guys, which was really funny because one dude, one of the dudes, they don't know that Arvin's right there, and he's like, hey man, like pass me a Twinkie. And then Arvin shows up and like beats the shit out of one guy, and then he takes that Twinkie and like shoves it,
Yeah,
and that dude's like,
mashed.
you want your fucking Twinkie?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh dude. it
And then
was
puts
good.
bags on their heads.
Yeah, like
was-
he beat him up pretty
It
good.
was satisfying.
Yeah, so during that time, it starts sprinkling. Lenora goes inside, meets the preacher. The preacher's a creep, takes her on a car ride where he tricks her into having sex with her. But he says, we're going to be with the Lord. Like, he
Yeah.
basically
This is
uses
yeah.
prayer and God and all those kinds of things to trick
To
her
manipulate her,
into having sex with him.
yeah.
And therefore, and Lenora becomes pregnant. I'm jumping to that.
Yes.
Yep.
Lenora
And
gets pregnant,
he-
and he obviously is a creep.
Says, what are you talking about? All we've ever done is pray.
Yeah, he basically essentially denies it.
We're jumping.
He gaslights her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, we can jump.
Let's just say this about Sandy and Carl. Let's at least establish that Lee, who is the cop, Sebastian Stan, is Sandy's brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Sandy, we at one point see that she wants to leave Carl. She doesn't like this life.
She doesn't like doing it anymore.
And she
liked
even-
it at one point.
She made a comment to Carl like, I told you, like, I'm tired of it. I don't like the way they scream before they die.
No, cry. She said
Cry.
She doesn't like ones that cry.
I don't like the ones that cry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Carl's kind of like the narrator. I don't think Carl says it, but the narrator's like, that's the one thing that Carl does, like, the sick fuck. Like,
Yeah.
you guys remember? That was
Yeah,
pretty funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we know that Sandy's having some issues with Carl. So we
Yeah.
can jump back to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's also that whole like kind of small town mob boss guy that's kind of got
That's a really side story.
that's got what's his name Lee in his pocket, and it's kind of weird, and but it's also kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Lenora's pregnant. She tells the preacher, Pattinson, that she is pregnant, and he says it's impossible. He's like, and then he tells her this whole story about how people are delusional and get crazy.
Oh,
and,
his like sermon or like his.
Yes.
well, yeah.
So
and-
he's talking to her first,
yeah,
basically
and then
saying,
his sermon follows up.
yeah,
Like
That's so
basically
messed
that
up.
basically he's basically gaslighting her into saying like you can want something so bad that you feel like it's true, but it's not true, and you're just a crazy
You're
person.
delusional.
yeah. So he's
You're
calling her
delusional.
crazy, and then it goes to Lenore's throwing up, and Arvin's just the freaking man, and
Taking care of
he
her.
made this really funny comment, and you're just like, dude, like what a nice. It's like they're not even real siblings here, but like Arvin has nobody, and he
know.
says he's like rubbing her back as she's throwing up.
Yeah, he's holding
and,
her hair.
and she's like. She says that she's ashamed because she's never missed a Sunday service before, and he
Yeah.
goes, "I'm sure old Jesus had himself a few bad mornings."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, dang, dude, like,
Yeah.
what a guy.
He's a nice guy.
And then it cuts
for
straight
sure.
into Robert Pattinson going off on his delusions. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous,
Like that.
yeah.
dude, like,
It's
what the heck?
fucking crazy. Back to back, just fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so Lenora at this point, and basically Robert Pattinson tells her, what I think you should do. Obviously, I'm not the father. He's like, if we were just with the Lord, how could I be the daddy?
Yeah.
So he basically
Yeah.
gaslights her into thinking like,
can I be
okay,
the daddy?
but then he goes, but what I would do is I'd get rid of the baby somehow.
Yeah.
Or else you're gonna be a whore. You're gonna embarrass your family. Basically,
bastard child.
you're gonna have a bastard child. All this stuff,
Yeah.
and therefore Lenora feels so horrible that she decides to go hang herself in the shed.
This might have been my least favorite part.
And so she's kind of lacing up. She's standing on a bucket, puts the noose on, and then realizes,
you see this?
You know what? I'm not gonna a whore. My grandmother will love me. She'll love this child. I'll love this child. I'll treat And so she changes her mind and slips off the bucket, and therefore dies. And of course, Arvin come home and finds her. Finds her dead, and that's rough.
And he's got to get his revenge.
Well, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know until a cop tells him, like, hey, man, during the autopsy, they found out that Lenore's pregnant. Right. He's like, that's impossible. And so then he starts to piece it all together.
And then he goes, this preacher's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
She's not been wanting me to go to the church with her anymore, and she prays. And then so he follows him. Yeah. He follows him around for a little while and realizes he's doing it with another girl as well, and realizes now that he has to confront him.
Well, and that he's got a wife at home. So the preacher's got a wife, but he's off banging all these younger girls.
Yes.
Robert Pattinson had a big old belly when he was getting that blow.
That was weird.
That was weird. He
had an awkward scene.
He had a big old belly. He's getting a blow G, and you just see his belly.
And she was definitely going down in the wrong part of his body. It just looked odd.
Yeah.
The whole scene was
like, whoa, was that a fake belly?
He was sitting like.
I'm glad you brought that up because we both
were like, what the fuck?
What was that? Yeah. He doesn't seem like he has a pot belly.
No.
It's so odd.
He's such a skinny dude, but he had this
it was
giant
gross.
belly.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
gross.
he was awkwardly doing that because she wasn't actually giving him.
I'm sure there was some weird thing, and he's like, you know what? I think it would make it look extra creepy.
Give me this really big belly.
If I try to put a belly on her forehead.
Hey.
But anyway, Arvin takes his Luger.
It'd be cool if people listening to this were like, I don't want to watch it, but I want to know all about this movie.
Yeah.
And look, I know.
We're telling you the whole movie.
We're telling you the whole movie because this is one of the most complex movies.
And I want to talk about each
story-wise, everything's so intertwining. Whereas if we were talking about a Star Wars movie, my favorite part was the lightsaber that went.
Yeah.
So this is our first pause the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a very crazy one.
Yeah. So there was a lot of times where you could have paused the movie and been like, wait, let's talk about what just happened, which we didn't really do, which was fine. But everything was so in a sense, it was very simple. Yeah. But so many things happened.
Yeah.
That led to all of the things that are happening.
Yeah.
That it's not convoluted or confusing. It's just there's a lot to soak in.
Yes.
Yes. And so Arvin obviously goes, confronts him at the church, sits down behind him.
That was awesome.
And then basically goes, I want to confess to some sins, and the sins are essentially he basically retold Robert Pattinson's story, all the things that he saw him doing, and then obviously Robert Pattinson starts to realize what's happening.
Take that hat off, boy.
He's and then he pulls a gun on him. He kind of begs and pleads, but then also talks some shit, and
he's basically saying, dude, she was crazy, and Arvin says she wasn't crazy, she was lonely. Oh my gosh, that was so sad.
Yeah.
So freaking sad.
Good grief.
Also, when he was confessing about getting the blowjay from his wife, which was actually Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's like, well, does she puke?
Yeah. They got a little button. They got a little button in the back. What?
I'm confessing, Father, and that was your response?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Anyways, that was funny.
Yeah, that was
no,
weird.
that's not the issue.
Yeah,
and so basically he's
got his dad's gun.
He's begging, but he's got the gun on him, and then Robert Pattinson at one point throws the Bible.
He throws something.
I think he had a Bible in his hand, and he does because he shoots him as a reaction.
Something gets thrown. Yeah.
I think at one point Robert Pattinson tries to kind of juke it and throws the Bible, and then gets shot in the chest, goes down. Then he goes back around the corner, sees him there, shoots him 2 more times. I think.
What I love about this movie
puts
is
him down.
They don't really wait around. Sometimes you're like, oh, are they gonna die? Or I'm not sure. In this movie, it's just bang bang,
yep,
dead, bang bang, dead.
Yeah, every time
has never killed anybody before, so he's wigging out. He's like trying to find the bullets, and he's
know.
The casings.
and then finally he's just like,
Fuck it.
shit, like I'm running away, like
Yeah.
I'm out of here, like
Yeah.
And
peace.
so, well, and he also left a note for his
Grandma.
telling him what he was gonna do.
I don't want to, but I have to.
And then telling him that he was gonna go away after. So he knew he was going to do that. He knew that it was like he basically knew that forever after that he wasn't gonna be able to go back home because
And
he'd be a
guess
criminal.
what?
Yeah,
So he runs.
He goes to hitchhike.
he hitchhikes.
He hitchhikes.
Guess who picks him
Ooh,
up?
Dun
the
dun
hitchhiking
dun. Don't hitchhike.
Sandy and Carl.
Carl.
And so they're pulling. They're driving. And of course they go. He goes, "Oh, I gotta take a piss. Let's pull over." And
Arvin's no dummy.
Arvin immediately gets sketched.
Yeah, he's like, this ain't
These
right.
people are fucking weird.
He's like, it's weird that we just got in the car, they just picked me up, and now the dude has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And for sure, and the whole time, Sandy didn't want to pick him up. At the beginning, Sandy was like, no, not him. He's from Ohio or something like that.
He picks up on Sandy's vibes when he's like trying to make small talk. Sandy's just sort of like, yeah, honey.
Yeah, but he also, and then, so they pull off, and obviously they go a little further into the woods than they need
like
to.
he's like, I thought we were just gonna pull over off the side of the road. You're
and,
going down.
Yeah, and then Carl gets out of the car, and he notices his gun.
Yeah.
On Carl's hip, or tucked in his waistband. And so that's when he kind of pulls the gun out on his own.
Shoots Carl dead.
Well, Carl comes and, like, pulls the door open.
And he just.
Oh, because he's like, why
And
don't we stay, hang out, have some lunch, give me the keys, Sandy.
And so Carl opens the door. Carl has a gun in his hand.
Arvin's like, hell no.
And he just opens the door and blasts. And Arvin blasts Carl.
Blast.
And then Sandy pulls a gun out. Puts it on Arvin. Arvin has a gun on her. Mexican standoff. Classic. And they're both like, don't shoot. I don't want to shoot you. Don't shoot. I don't want to shoot you. And they both shoot.
I think Sandy got hers off first.
But Sandy,
Yeah.
living
Shooting
with
blanks.
a psychopath, he put Carl put blanks in her gun because he didn't
Psycho.
trust her because he's a serial killer. So she didn't shoot any bullets.
So she died.
So she dies because
She got
Arvin
shot
shot her in the
in the-
neck.
in the
neck,
neck,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of neck injuries.
Yeah.
They did right there. Done.
So now, just like that, yeah, it's like
Just
they're
like
dead.
that, they're dead. Just like that, they're dead. And Arvin's now on the run again.
Yep.
Yep.
And so Lee gets called because he's an officer.
Mm-hmm.
He gets called to the scene, finds out it's his freaking sister. So he's pissed.
I feel like, but he also discovered.
Well, that guy is kind of creepy himself.
So he knew something was going on.
Yeah.
And so he went to Sandy's house right after that,
Yeah.
and then found all the evidence of all the murders that they had done, and he didn't want that to look bad on him because he's running for sheriff.
So he burned.
So he burns it all, and he probably also
evidence.
knows that Arvin knows what they were doing, and he also knows that Arvin was probably a self-defense situation.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's also mad that his sister got killed, and he's also mad that now
Arvin might have this
Arvin
secret.
might know this.
And what's crazy is when he gets the tip that it was Arvin, he puts it together like, oh snap, this is the little kid who had pie all over his face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's like, even for them, they're like,
It's coming
small
full
frickin'
circle.
world.
Well,
like,
yeah.
It is wild that everything kind of intertwines. It comes
Yeah.
back around. So Arvin, at this
Full
point,
circle.
Arvin's on foot, doesn't know anybody's after him,
yeah.
but he decides to go have closure and go home and bury his dog.
Yes.
This is what I didn't understand. The bag that he had, were those dogs' bones in that bag the
No,
whole time?
no.
They were just in that
They
area?
were because he knew that nobody had ever taken it down.
Okay, so.
Because they
that's what I
said
didn't
nobody
understand.
ever moved into the house.
Gotcha.
So he just knew they were there. That bag he had was the bag he took from the car.
Oh, okay.
He just I think loaded up a bag.
Okay.
Okay.
Or he had I think it's his bag. But he went and picked through their pockets and stuff and then took a bag.
Yeah.
And so he went to go bury the bones, but when he's walking up to the gas station, the gas station guy's like, yeah, nobody's been there. Oh, did you hear so and so's there was 2 murders down the road.
Yeah.
And they're looking for him or something, and Arvin kind of realizes, oh,
Snap.
that's not good. I didn't realize that was the sheriff's sister.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, kind of just, the guy's like, come back, we'll have a beer, and he just walks off kind of quickly.
Yeah, he's like, I need
And
to
he's
get
like-
my shit done.
And so he's gonna go
Yeah.
back and kind of, it seems like he's going back to bury the dog and essentially make some peace with his father.
That's when it hit me where I was like, this is a freaking story about a kid and his dog, man.
The whole story, he just needed to get back.
The whole thing comes full circle.
He needed to get back and bury his dog.
He wanted to bury his freaking dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally why he went outside in the first place. That
night.
Yep.
So he does. He buries the dog, and then also the sheriff shows up.
And he's got a shotgun.
And so they have a bit of a standoff, and apparently Arvin is the luckiest man of all time.
Right? He's a great shot.
Because he just randomly shoots while other people are shooting, and he hits people and they don't hit him.
Right, yeah.
So a little bit of a standoff, and then Arvin shoots him, and he goes, hey, man, like, I had to kill them. I'm sorry. I didn't want to. They were trying to kill me. I have proof. Here's a picture of what they were doing to people.
Puts it in his pocket.
Shows it to him, puts it in his pocket.
As he's dying.
Gives him the film canisters that have more of that stuff on it, puts it in his pocket. And obviously, the sheriff knows this, but he doesn't know the sheriff knows this.
Right.
But they're going to find it, obviously, when they find the sheriff's body.
But he did. I thought it was kind of funny. Didn't he take the film out of the canister and wanted that exposed?
I think it was just negatives. I don't think it was. I think it was just negatives because he looked at them.
Oh, he unraveled it.
Yeah. So I think it was just film negatives, not the actual, not just film. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then says the preacher is bad. You gotta understand.
Yeah. So he kind of explains
as he's dying,
and he dies obviously. Bucky, R.I.P. Should have had a robo arm. Made of vibranium.
Rest in peace, Black Panther.
R.I.P. But and then he essentially just goes back out on the road and hitchhikes with some hippie and dozes off in the car, and
he's like, the narrator's explaining how Arvin's thinking about everything that's happened to him in the past.
Yeah.
And he's worried about what's going to happen to him in the future. Yeah. Does he enlist in the army? And then he was like, no, that's what my dad did. I don't want to live that life. And then
he also says, but maybe that's what I should do because I'm good at fighting.
Yeah. And then his eyes get really teary, and then he just kind of starts to doze off. And you're like, dang, man, this dude ain't walking out okay.
No.
You talk about someone who's got some PTSD. This dude lost every single person he ever cared about.
And then killed a lot of people
But he had to walk away from his
He
grandma.
murdered
three
people.
And four in about 5 hours.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. And
I mean,
some people up.
I would say the only acting I didn't like in the movie was his nodding off.
Really?
Because it looked like a person pretending to nod off.
I didn't really know.
He was kind of he was going like.
But that's kind of what you look like when you nod off.
What it just what are them saying? It looked like a person.
That's what you look like.
All right, Tom, just nod off some more, bud.
Because they're like, hey, the narrator's still. The narrator's still talking. Keep nodding off, and he's just like,
more.
Is he done? Can I just keep my eyes closed? It just seemed that was I
didn't really notice.
I didn't.
It was all good. It was all good, and I mean the scene was good. But I caught myself thinking it was the only time in the movie that I was like, I wonder what his direction was when they were filming that scene.
That's interesting. I could see that.
Because I felt like I was like, now we're acting.
That I did really like though. I thought it captured. When you are starting to doze off and say you guys are still talking and I'm dozing off into a nap. I hear your conversation still, but I'm half in dreamland, half hearing you guys talk.
Yeah.
I feel like the narrator did a really good job of showing his thoughts, and then also I think he was drifting too, because then he was like, oh no, that wasn't me in the war, that was my dad. So I feel like he was doing a good job of blending his.
Didn't really notice that.
Yeah, good point.
It was
wow, Ashley.
Because it's crazy how well he captured it, because that happens to me a lot, and I think he.
Sounds like you were really immersed in this movie.
She thought she was.
It's like you were in a different time period.
Felt like I was in 1946.
Ashley's like, man, we got a
Charleston
chew.
I do got a Charleston chew in my pocket.
My pocket.
But
your nose is on the mic.
Yeah, that's how I know I'm close. I have excellent microphone technique.
So it kind of ended peacefully? Question mark.
But for me, it immediately was I thought something bad was gonna happen. I was like, this hippie is gonna eat him.
I thought he was just I was like, he's just gonna randomly get shot in his sleep. I was like, wait, no, he's dead. Nobody's getting a happy
I was
ending
like
in
a
this movie.
semi is gonna
And it's
come.
like, yeah, you think a bad ending
You don't have to yell.
means a bad ending.
Well, we got excited.
I know.
I think
like,
we
God
think
damn.
that a bad ending means dying and you're dead, but sometimes the worst ending is just being alive. And like this dude has to wake up every day and know, well, when I was a kid, my mom died, and then my dad killed himself. But before he killed himself, he crucified my dog, and so I was an orphan living with my grandma.
And I had a few decent years.
And then I never had a sibling, but my step sibling, turns out she killed herself.
Yeah.
But she only killed herself because this dude screwed her over.
And also,
So
she had
then-
an unborn child.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then I killed him. Now I'm a horrible human being and
And
a
I
murderer.
had to kill 3 more people.
Yeah, and then I had to kill other people to save my life. And then
I had to kill
Now
somebody
I'm-
else.
and
now
then
I'm
I
on
killed
the
a
run,
police officer.
and I'm
yeah.
alone.
And so it's like this dude is like he can't be 20 years old and he has to live with that the rest of his life.
And that, yeah, and I think, yeah. So for him to actually be maybe starting to get some sleep, it was like,
yeah, like what?
wow.
Like how
And the
how
hippie guy
do you
just had
even
no
sleep?
idea. No idea.
No idea. That guy had no idea.
No idea.
Oh, thank you.
No idea
Well,
what I get.
I mean, that's why you don't hitchhike, apparently. The moral of the story, literally the moral of this movie is don't hitchhike.
And don't sacrifice your dog.
Ooh.
No, you could do that.
And if a preacher asks you if you want the Lord inside you, say no.
Oh man.
Have you been, what did he say?
Have you shown yourself
to the Lord.
You
with
have
a
to do that
witness?
And then
I will be your
With
witness.
a penis inside you.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was odd. And then there was that little redheaded girl that
And
he
don't
also
ever
liked.
bring chicken livers to a party.
Yeah, church
There's a
potluck.
lot of morals to the story.
Yeah.
Basically, the moral of the story is all of you complaining about the world today, it was worse before.
Right. Like, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I kept thinking about this, like, there are people who have lives like this.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what is so wild to me.
Right.
That's someone's life.
Yeah.
You know it is.
Okay, no more spoilers. Everybody can come back now. Unpause.
Oh,
So what did you guys think of the movie?
Wow. I mean, my first reaction was, wow, really good movie.
Yeah.
I'll never see it again.
Yes. So I think the same. It's kind of how. Did you guys see the movie Prisoners?
No.
Oh,
You've
no,
mentioned
brought
that twice.
earlier. I thought that was a joke.
You want to watch it?
Yeah, we thought you were just making up some random shit.
I did.
I thought you were making like a Prison Break reference.
Yeah, that's why I was like, holes.
No. So like, Prisoners is a
Jam.
crazy movie. I think it's
Is that the one with
Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Never mind.
Basically,
I don't know it.
I don't want to spoil it. You guys should watch it. It's freaking nuts. It's crazier than this movie. Like I think.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not as twisty and it's just very straightforward. Like
Craziness.
It's crazy.
Okay.
And it's so real that like it ends and you're like, gosh, that movie was so freaking good because like all the actors are so good, the storytelling. But you're like, I'll never watch that again. It's so disturbing and like it scares me.
So dark.
Yikes.
So dark.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's how I felt about this movie too. Where I was like,
Yeah, but I mean,
really good.
I liked it, but I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
like it's, or maybe I'll watch it in like 10 years.
Right. Maybe
Maybe
I'll
like-
read the book and
Yeah.
then.
I
never
feel
watch
like
Yeah.
I have movies that like I could watch once a week. I have movies I could watch once a month. I have
Cars?
movies- I was thinking
every day.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, baby.
But don't lie, you love cars.
I love Cars. Oh my god, Pixar.
Ka-chow.
So we've done no Disney talk. So
No.
Pixar.
This can almost count as like an Ashley movie.
This is an Ashley.
Well, and see,
pause.
like I find it funny because like what drew me to this movie to begin with was like
Tom Holland.
all my favorite Marvel characters, or like not even Marvel characters, but like Jason Clarke. I freaking love Planet of the Apes. That dude's in freaking Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan's Bucky. Robert Pattinson's Batman. That's not Marvel, but I like Batman.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Like
it kind
all
of,
of
does
the
tie
people
back
in this movie, I was like, oh snap! Like
Yeah. But this is like a once in a lifetime film. And then there are like movies
where
like
it's like impactful and
like there was a movie like There Will Be Blood. Did you ever see that? You should. It's really good.
fine.
It's really good. It has a lot of similar things
or like your favorite movie, V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
which
Yeah, actually, you're right. That is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
What's your point?
It's my
is
tops.
just something we'll probably never watch ever.
I could watch it right now.
Interesting, but he won't watch Shawshank. Confusing.
Not the same.
Check, please.
Anywho, There Will Be Blood has a lot of the dark kind of things that like they seem dark and heavy, but then if you think about it, you're like, that's actually hilarious. Like what's happening is funny.
Wait, what?
The murder, the rape, the suicide.
Yeah, come again?
Okay. So you remember how? What were we talking about? There was something that was funny
In this movie?
Yeah, the brother. Like after he murdered his wife, the
yeah.
brother's
yeah.
like,
That was
brother's like, nah,
the
man, you're just a
one
crazy
funny
husband.
part.
Yeah.
So like there are things like that in that movie that I feel
Wait,
like
what movie were you talking about? I'm
There
sorry.
Will Be Blood.
Oh, okay. thank
Like
you.
most of the movie is not like that, but there are a couple of things where you're like, oh, I got a chuckle. I got a chuckle out of that. And most people that like see it one time will not feel that way.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the movie where he goes around with that like vacuum? Hold on.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, it's like There Will Be Blood.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
Kind of. No. They goes around with the vacuum like on the doorknob. Oh my god, please.
I don't know.
Ashley,
Can you-
what in the fuck?
Can you please
It's a
Google
Disney podcast.
What are you talking about? Goes around with a vacuum
Hold
on
on.
a doorknob?
it? It's
Hold
like
on.
a vacuum. It's not a vacuum. It's his.
Siri, what's that movie with the vacuum and it goes on the doorknob?
It's a weapon. It's a weapon.
Oh, time
It's a
out.
weapon.
Time
Oh
out.
my
Time out.
God.
Time
Brave
out.
little toaster.
Okay. I know. Okay, time out. I know what movie.
Door to door.
No. Stop. I know what movie she's talking about now, but I'm going to.
Brave
But I want to hear her try to explain it
That's
more.
literally all I got.
You're
It's
like,
been so
Lampy,
long.
that's it.
And it's Bardem. Who's the guy?
The movie she's talking about is No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
And he has a pneumatic,
Vacuum.
not a vacuum. It punches like
It's a
it
sucky.
kills cows.
Yeah.
And he uses it on a doorknob to blow the bolt out of a door
To open the
door.
Where's this going?
And apparently she thought it was a vacuum.
Where was this going?
The movie is very dark and broody, but there are a couple things that are kind of funny.
I was saying it reminds
Like
me
Tommy
of
Lee
There Will Be
Jones
Blood.
has some
There
funny
Will Be
lines
Blood.
in that
I was
movie.
like, what's going on?
It's
here?
dark, but I do remember that being kind of funny, but clearly I don't remember a lot.
Clearly, I thought there was a vacuum.
Clearly, I was combining
I knew it
Ghostbusters
wasn't
and
a-
Brave Little Toaster.
I knew it wasn't a vacuum, but I wanted to spit it out as soon as possible, and that's what came to me.
All right, and that's a soundbite.
I wanted to spit it out.
As soon as possible.
I thought I'd spit it out as soon as possible. And it came to me.
That's the name of this podcast, episode 3. I just wanted to spit it out as soon as possible.
All right.
No.
Should we rate this movie?
Sure.
Shit, I hate rating movies.
Why? Because you gave Mulan a freaking.
Because you gave Mulan.
No, I did not. We all know I didn't.
Mulan.
I still think Mulan was entertaining.
Entertaining, not good.
Yeah, ratings
Yes.
are hard. Okay,
But this movie's good.
it's very good.
So what do we
Overall,
want to do? Do we want to do 1 to 10 or 5 stars?
Let's do,
5 stars.
I
That's
think we need a better rating system.
Yay, nay, or undecided?
No, I think we need to do, since we're the animatronic trio, and there are 3 A's.
Yep.
So the maximum score is
AAA.
AAA.
Oh, cool.
So is it a double A or a single A? AAA is the highest rating. Or do we want to do 5 A's?
3 A's. 3 A's.
3 A's. Can I do
That's
2
hard.
A's point?
I feel like that's hard.
That's hard to. Yeah.
Because it needs to be like at least 5.
Because most
Okay.
every movie will probably be a 2.
Can we go halves too?
Let's do 10 A's.
Okay, so basically
go
we're
up to
doing
10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10
But with A's.
for
So
Anthony,
stupid.
Aaron, Ashley, and
Awesome.
another.
Ashley,
awesome-
no, it's Ashley and Aaron and Anthony and
Animatronic
and
and
and asshole tree. Asshole tree.
that's a T. No, this is stupid. Let's just.
Wow. Yeah. I would say I'm
We'll
gonna
figure
give
that
it.
out later,
I'm gonna
but-
give it a 7.5
Okay.
out
Oh.
of 10 A's.
Out of 10.
Out of 10 A's.
So you
Wow, that changes. That
You-
makes me question my own.
right because you're saying that this movie is only half an A more than Mulan. I
Yes.
farted.
Amazing.
You're
This,
like,
this
wait.
changes my world because I gave Mulan a 4.
4.
You gave Mulan a 7.
I
and you're
gave
giving
Mulan a
this
7.5.
I gave it a 7 and then immediately was like, no, I think it's
So
a
listen,
4.
I was talking purely entertainment. I'm
This
talking
is a
about
different-
whole movie quality.
talking-
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I was giving it a
Okay,
purely
okay.
entertainment factor
So this
of
is different. This is
7.
different.
So I'm thinking a 7.5.
Okay, that's fair. Then
Top
that
to
makes
bottom
sense.
movie.
Overall quality
Yeah.
of a movie.
Like, and that includes like rewatchability. And like, I feel like that is a factor for me.
I'm gonna
like,
go
if
8
I'm gonna
A's.
watch that movie.
I was gonna go 8 A's.
8 A's.
8 A's.
8 A's. 8
I was
A's.
born in the 8 A's.
I was born in the 80s, baby.
Were you?
No.
I
Neither were you.
I know.
was. I can't
Old-
believe you guys are young.
Old-
Are we
fire.
though, or are you just like really freaking old?
Yeah, are we though?
Nah.
Nah.
But I was born in that 8 A's. Same
baby.
rating.
8
Oh. All right. Well,
So
so I think an
8 A's?
average of 8. Nice work.
So that's pretty good.
962A.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I think it was really good. I think it's just one of those ones that like it's not my style of movie, but I did like that it's a period.
Yeah.
Like if it was a movie like that with the same kind of plot and drama, similar things, but it was set in 2010,
It
I would
wouldn't have
not
worked as well.
I would not have enjoyed it.
I agree.
I would not have enjoyed it at all.
I don't think it would have translated.
Oh, I want to talk about Project Power at some point too. We watched that. That was also another Netflix movie that came out recently.
Our next one.
We can just briefly say I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was good.
I liked it.
I was
I mean,
entertained.
we definitely talk about more, but it was interesting. Entertainment value, that is a higher rating than this movie to me.
I could see that, but two different kinds of entertainment.
Burrow,
Dude,
Machine
like-
Gun Kelly ran
Yeah.
on fire through a
Yeah.
hallway. It was crazy.
I feel like that movie
Yeah.
is like entertainment for someone who.
Yeah, it's just
What are you trying
Neat.
to say? So watch what you say because you're talking about me.
No, I'm not.
Watch what you say.
it's for some,
No, I'm not. It's
for some kind of nerd.
no. There's just
Some
a
kinda
difference in entertainment. It's like
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
someone needs like a, and I'm not saying this to you but like
I think this movie.
But wait, I am.
no,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
It wasn't.
Um,
I didn't even finish his thought.
I know. All I gotta say is.
Check, please.
Let's just touch
Loved
on
it.
this the next episode.
Yeah.
Loved it.
What are we at right now? How long has
Like
the,
4
how long have the
hours?
viewers been listening?
No idea. It's well over an hour.
It doesn't show there? Or no, we're not using the computer.
No, dude.
We're not
we,
freaking savages.
We have no idea.
Let's just say though, the next time our viewers tune in, our movie reviews won't always be this long because again, like
This is
I said,
We're gonna do movie reviews, not movie play-by-plays like we did
yeah,
tonight.
Yeah.
This was a tough movie to
I
follow.
feel like we
so.
had to talk about
So
it.
hopefully you watched it and you agree with our points. and our
Hopefully you
thoughts.
watch the movie before you watch this.
Oh, because we spoiled all of it for you.
Because
in grave detail.
listening to this might be cool after you've watched it. Because
Yeah.
you can be like, oh yeah, I felt that same way. Or, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? His acting was fantastic when he was dozing
Or-
off.
Well, he was what? Oh, dozing off.
Huh?
He was what?
What?
Or maybe you won't watch it because you can't do dark, heavy stuff, but you want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so right, Ashley. That's a great point.
Thank
Or
you.
Kill Whale.
All right, guys. What do you think we wrap this thing up?
Yeah,
Let's wrap it
rapper.
up.
Because
rapper.
why are we still here?
Yep, because
We've got donuts to eat, farts to drop in the toilet and flush.
Yo, it took us a week to drop this podcast.
We haven't dropped it yet, buddy. We still got. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it gets out.
buddy.
We ran out of friggin' memory.
Ran out of film in the camera. I checked out an hour and it was fine. We'll see. Hopefully, you're still recording.
No, my
Anyway.
face palm.
Thank you for joining us on this week's edition to the Animatronic Trio. Wait, pause the movie edition.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to
like us, subscribe to us, hit the bell.
follow us on
Follow us
Instagram.
on Animatronic Trio on Instagram. And I think you can get your podcast or our podcast pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts. So check it out. Like, subscribe, follow, get the bell on. Thank you.
Woo!
Bye, y'all.
Wow, we finally did one.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, that was a long one too.